Hello, welcome to All Real Wrestling Podcast with your co-host Jason Smith.
And Eric Novak.
Today we are going to be discussing a whole bunch of topics that we've actually received from multiple fans that have sent it to us over the past few days, ever since the first release of our video on YouTube, which you can check out in the link of the description of our Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be discussing multiple topics about Impact Wrestling World Champion Tessa Blanchard, regular fan experiences in airports, multiple New Japan wrestlers, and more to come later on today. So today I want to start it off pretty big. Eric, have you ever had any weird experiences at the airport when it comes to meeting wrestlers?
It's really funny that you get to say that because I went on vacation really recently and I'm sitting right next to a guy and this guy's doing Instagram live and my dad and me and my dad, my mom, we all point him out. And we're like, wait, this guy looks a little too familiar. And I'm over here like, why does he look familiar? And it's like he is who I thought he was originally. He is a wrestler. And I'm over here like, wait, is that Brodus Clay? And yes, in fact, that was Brodus Clay. And, you know, I don't know the rule of seeing wrestlers at the airport, but I tend that, airport is probably the last place, wrestlers comfortable at because they have so much to worry about. They have to make sure their flight's not delayed and stuff like that. So I saw Brodus Clay. I saw him doing the Instagram live story, and someone did ask to take a photo with him. He said, "Yeah, he was a very nice guy." But my own moral was, you know, you just want to get out of the airport. When you're at the airport, you just want to get out of the airport. No one wants to stay in the airport. So I was just like, let him do him. Let him do his Instagram live. I don't want to. I don't want to. Interrupt him from doing the live, just to get a photo with him. Even though I could tell by his personality, by the way he did say yes to the other fan, that he is a nice guy in the airport. And if you see him at the airport, don't be afraid to say hi. He definitely was a polite guy. I just had my moral reason why I didn't want to, and I was writing back at him like. You turned around and he saw him. It was a weird thing because I'm a weird person. I went into his Instagram live. I joined his Instagram live, and it said my name joined, and he saw me like a minute ago, and my social media is a picture of me. So he turns around, and I just quickly got off Instagram and went on YouTube and looked the whole other direction. So my man definitely saw that I joined. I was writing back at him. It was very funny, very very funny. But yeah. So that was that experience, and then leaving. So I was going to Atlanta, and going to Atlanta from New York on JFK. I saw Brodus Clay. Then leaving Atlanta back to New York, I saw future star Chris Bay. And for a second, I was with my brother, and for a second, I'm like, wait, that guy looks familiar. And I looked through my photos, and I have a picture of Chris Bay, and he's wearing the same hoodie, the Ultimate Finisher hoodie. And I'm like, wait, that is Chris Bay. And again, my moral reason is I will not go to an airport and say hi and take a picture with the wrestler. And he was asking for directions, so the last thing I wanted to do was take a photo with him or say hi to him, even though he was a very cool guy. And his immediate thing was when I told him I flew from New York to Atlanta, he goes, "Oh, so you're gonna be at Rebellion?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can't," and I can't wait to see you. And I'm like, "That's awesome." If he remembers me, if Rebellion still happens, that's awesome. But yeah, those are my two and only wrestling experiences at the airport. Do you have any experiences at the airport meeting wrestlers, Jason?
I have seen some wrestlers in the airport when I used to travel a lot more. However, I didn't have the same moral, but I didn't go up to them mostly due to multiple conveniences. Like one time, I was riding. I came back from a trip to DC basically, and I saw Randy Orton. Now, first off, he had at least 12 people around him, and second, I had a lot of stuff I had to do that day, and I had to leave immediately. And there was some other experiences that I've seen. I've seen Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and I have taken photos with those people. But I feel like I do agree with you that they got things to do, and they shouldn't really you should really talk to him because I want to get out the airport myself. You know what I'm saying? I got to make that flight, or I want to go home immediately from being gone from too long. And I feel like if they're respectful enough to take photos with you, then it seems like they have time. But if they seem like they're in a hurry and they're walking really quickly and trying not to like do anything, it's kind of obvious when you look at signs of them, like running too fast, kind of blocking their face with a book or something like that. Then yeah, but if they are open to it, sitting down, waiting for you, and constantly, signing autographs and taking photos of it, and they say that they're okay with it, then I think it's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's all about signs. You know, if they're smiling, if they're laughing, if they're looking at their watch. You know, before you are about to like take a photo with the rest or ask to take a photo with the rest at the airport, you have to examine them like for at least a minute just to see what's going on. If they're with family, that's also another thing. If they're with family, like it depends. It depends on what they're doing. Let's say they're trying to talk to their grandma. Let's say like you have to be careful about what you do and when you do, and that's setting. And it's all about like taking your time and just understanding. You shouldn't be in a rush to get this photo. You have to take this slow. But did you hear about? So one of my friends slash fans who helped us with a lot of these suggestions. I want to say thank you. Um, he told me that Sasha Banks had an incident at the airport. Did you ever hear about that?
I did not. Please continue.
Yeah, he said that Sasha Banks was very rude at the airport, and that some fans that wanted to take a photo with her, and she was just very very rude. Here's the thing with Sasha Banks. I know how you feel about her, Jason, and this is already gonna be like a little bit of an argument. I do not like Sasha Banks. I think that she is nasty in some ways. There's been more than one fan experience towards her, and it's always against little kids. That's my concern. It's always against like a little kid. It's her character, yes, but there's a difference. A wise man, Bubba Ray, who was on a podcast just like this one, except a lot more famous since they got him, and he goes, "I will easily take a photo with anyone at the airport." And I remember listening to that podcast, and I was like, and this sat me down. I was thinking about this. She goes, no matter what, I will take any photo, anything they give me. I'll sign it, whatever. And the guy goes, why? Why would you do that? Why would you waste your time? And he goes, because they're not gonna be here forever. One day they're here, the next they're not. And those fans that are the ones that wait for you at the airport and all that, the ones that stay by you forever. And it's true, I also have a friend who was a big Zack Ryder fan, huge Zack Ryder fan, and she is an amazing person who does these amazing things, edits, photos, everything. It's just positive things. At the end of the day, you need positive people to give you a positive, day. And I know she's not like a negative person, so she did a couple things, and Zack Ryder was just really rude to her. And this was through social media. He was really rude to her. She did a I don't know if you and it's just funny. I don't know if you remember. It was like a what's it called? It was a elf thing, like one of those elf videos where you like put your face on elves and they dance.
Yes, I have seen those before.
Yeah, so she made an edit with him, her, and I don't know if there's a third one, and he reacts with "What is this?" Like exclamation mark, question mark, like come on, man! It's the holiday season, and you comment "What is this?" I don't know, Zack Ryder that well. I know him fondly because I am a toy enthusiast and, I do follow, you know, the major podcast. I do a lot of things when it comes to like the figure reviews and all that. And his wrestling career too, it's not bad. But the fans that are sticking by you like that are the ones that you have to understand, that you have to be nice to, and you have to be positive with, because this person, she's a diehard fan, and I know that she would have been a diehard fan still to this day for him if he wasn't a big, dick in that way. Sorry for my language, but that's the thing. You can't do that to people who stick by you. And Sasha Banks does that. There was many scenarios where Sasha Banks yelled at a kid for just taking a photo. And it's like, come on. Are you that shallow? Like, you may be beautiful, you may be talented, but do you have to be in a way that shallow? Now, I talked too much about Sasha Banks. I want to hear your response, Jason, on this.
Well, Sasha Banks is definitely a star. She's world renowned. I mean, hell, she just had a rap album that she's working on, some releases and such that just came out not too long ago. The whole airport scene, and I have done my research on her as well with this thing. She has stated in multiple interviews admitting that she has been rude towards not just children but adults as well due to the whole picture thing. She says if you want a photo, she says she has no problem doing it. Just don't walk up to somebody, take a photo of them. Because how would you feel if that happened to you? Because I looked on her interview when she went on one of my favorite YouTube channels, Hot Ones. This is not a sponsor, by the way.
I love Hot Ones. Right after AEW, please watch Hot Ones.
Such a great show. And they did a Hot Ones interview with her, and they asked what was the craziest thing about fans and what really gets her mad. And she said the whole photos thing. Nobody wants to get hit with a million photos immediately getting off of a plane, getting out of a car, going out of a hotel.
I just want to cut you off with this one thing. It's a kid, Jason. You have to understand that this kid doesn't understand. Like, if my little brother took a photo of a wrestler and they yell at him for it, he doesn't understand. Like, the parents couldn't say anything because the parent was starstruck themselves. You know, like, there's a difference. Sasha Banks yelled at kids. She can defend it all she wants. She can say whatever she wants, but you don't yell at a kid. You get what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Don't just go up and take a photo. Don't be paparazzi. People don't like paparazzi. People like it if you ask for the photo. You know? I agree with you. But don't be, the person that yells at kids. Because that's her thing. That's who she is now. It's all what a lot of people think about her. Other than her being very talented and very beautiful.
Well, I feel like we are at a. I mean, it's true. It was a child. You can't really. Children have literally no control over themselves, if we're being honest. And she probably shouldn't have raised her voice at him. But hey, that was her choice at this point. I mean, I feel like she's been in the game for so long. I think she knows how to respond to it. But hey, that was kind of uncalled for. So. I don't know what was going on that day. Could have been a bad day. Could have been
more than once.
Hey, it happens more than once. I mean, I'm not going to say there's been many more famous superstars who've done the same thing, man. Remember that whole incident with Randy Orton at the gym? Come on now.
Yeah, but that's different. That's the gym. Come on. There's no kids at the gym.
That guy was a teenager, too.
Okay, but it's a gym. I think we can both agree that if you're working out, sweaty, and you're listening to your own music, you're in your own way. The gym, maybe after the gym, maybe if you're leaving the gym, okay. But that wasn't the case. Randy was working out while the photos were taken. Let's go. Come on.
He had earbuds in, and the photos were taken behind him and then in front of him. Nobody wants to be taking photos.
No one, but that's paparazzi. Did he ask? No, he didn't. He just took the photos. That's the point. I agree with you on that. I agree with you that you have to ask. But I don't agree that to yell at a kid for taking a photo. And this was a teenager. This was a fully developed kid who understood what he was doing.
It sounds terrible. I mean, we can't really do anything about it now, but I'm not going to genuinely say, oh, I don't like her for that, because that's not true at all. She's still probably one of my at least on my top 5 of favorite wrestlers. Even then, I mean, yeah, you can treat some people bad, and yeah, it sucks, but...
Jason, would you like me to put up a quick thing, it's 2 minutes, of Bubba Ray reacting to Sasha Banks complaining about her fans?
I'm sorry?
Would you like me to put up a quick thing about Bubba Ray reacting to Sasha Banks complaining about her fans?
You don't need to.
Okay. But you guys should definitely check it out. All I gotta type in is Bubba Ray fans at the airport, and the first thing you'll get was Bubba Ray reacting to Sasha Banks complaining about her fans. So we'll leave this subject for another day. Please, if you have any other wrestlers you want us to talk about, Sasha Banks was actually nominated, and we did this for a reason. Please, comment boards all there. Thank you so much for the comments between Team Eric, Team Jay. It helped a lot, and all the feedback I got from everybody. I really appreciate it. So, Jason, what is next on our list since you are taking over for today?
Well, thank you for sliding it over, and I agree with Eric. The Team J and Team Eric definitely showed a lot of feedback that we definitely needed. We had some pretty intense conversations and what we could combine to make it better. And today we have come up with an idea that will be pretty interesting. You'll see both sides of an argument because if we're being honest, the next thing we're going with is New Japan Pro Wrestling multiple questions. We're gonna take
20
5
questions.
minutes.
I'm sorry. This is a new thing we're doing. It's company 20 questions thing. So we got New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this is the 20 question speed round. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna hear our answers based on the New Japan round. All right, Jason, back to you.
All right, we will definitely let's see what you got, Eric. First question: who's next to challenge for Naito? He has officially defeated Kenta, and Hiromu is in his sights. But what do you see after that in title defenses?
Easy. I think my guy Jay White. I think you need a heel and a face, and Naito is the face. After watching him at the Tokyo Dome, after watching all those fans in those Naito t-shirts going crazy, I want you to know, I have watched wrestling for a long time, but I've never seen the reaction that Naito got bigger than any other thing I've seen. Naito got the biggest. Everyone in Tokyo Dome, everyone wanted to see him take both titles. Naito, I will never see a reaction like that. I still have not seen a reaction anywhere close to that. So I think he is the face now, even though a lot of people don't think that. He is definitely the person that is the underdog. He's one that people want, people like. So I think you need to even it out with the heel. That's why we got Kenta. But Kenta is, one of those backup heels. We need the main heel. I think the Switchblade Jay White's next.
Well, that is definitely a good response. I honestly feel like we might get some type of new thing, and instead of the original face versus heel, I think we're gonna get a face versus face intention. Because when you look at Lij, what do you see? What's the immediately first thing you think of when
Evil.
you think of Lij?
Evil.
No.
No, really? When you look at Lij and don't look at evil? But the first thing I see in Lij is evil. My man gives me nightmares.
Now think. What do you see when you see Bushi?
I see a guy in a mask wearing lips. Not I'm shook. I'm being I'm being mean. Look, I get what you're saying. Lij got that look, they got that like scary vibe look.
But you know who I think is going to finally step up?
I need to stop. I need to stop. I'm making too many jokes. Sonata, huh?
Sonata versus Naito.
I would love to see that. I'm a huge Sonata fan. Let's go Sonata. I met Sonata. Very nice guy. But he needs, I don't think he's been losing a lot and then getting a huge push to championship. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Sonata's gonna beat Ospreay before he'll get to Naito, in my sense. But I'll take that. I say Jay. You say Sonata. If you want to give a little bit of reasoning why, you can. But we got these 20 questions and we got to keep going. So, would you like to give some reasoning why you got Sonata on board?
Simple. Sonata is the only person in Lij currently without a championship.
So you think he's gonna take Naito's? But Naito's part of Lij.
I think he's going to step up and go for one of the titles. Most likely the Intercontinental Championship.
I believe it might be Ospreay's title, honestly. I think him and Ospreay had the first ever match in the G1, right? That's the first time they ever fought together in a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Exactly. That happened literally a year, like 2019, literally last year. And it was the end of 2019, I think. So, that's the first time they ever fought. And while Ospreay got the win, Sonata has to get the win in the next battle. So I honestly believe that it will be Sonata taking Osprey's title.
Interesting. Speaking of Will Ospreay, do you see any future challenges for him?
Of course, Sonata. Again, I think, like I said, Sonata and Osprey had a huge, and it was probably one of my favorite matches of the G1. And I only had a very few, like, wow, I can rewatch that without, like, yawning kind of match, the G1. And it was definitely Sonata and Osprey. And I think these guys can easily bust out an amazing match again. And I would love to see Sonata take the title. Even though I'm an Osprey fanatic, that's my number one guy for New Japan. But Sonata is a hard worker, very talented, and it's time someone shows that.
Interesting. For Osprey and future challenges, and if we're going on championship matches, I honestly need to see Shingo versus Osprey too.
Wow, that's a good one. Shingo.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, and this is actually what I'm going to point this out, and I'm not going to get too much detail into it. I love all companies very much, but there was a match that happened, and it was a great match. It was my favorite tag match, and a couple months ago, they just recreated that exact match with one other guy. They replaced the guy and let that guy do the other guy's moves from the first match, and I like that one better than the first one, but I shouldn't because it's the exact same match. So you're saying Shingo and Osprey that had a freaking maybe my best singles match I've ever seen in my life. I don't want them to recreate that because it will never be better than the first. That is my statement on that. I don't think it is possible for them to have a better match than the first. And that's the issue with a lot of wrestling. Like, New Japan has so much talent. And don't get me wrong, these guys, if they were ever in the ring together, I would literally stay up till the midnight to watch that. I'll stay up till 6 in the morning, even if I have school the next day. But I don't think they should. Because that was probably the best match you'll ever watch. Please watch it. Super Junior, the Super J Cup. No, wait, was it the Super J Cup? No, it was the best of the Super.
It was
the
yes,
best of the
the
Super.
finals.
Yeah, it was the finals of the best of the Super Junior. Shingo versus Osprey. If you haven't seen it, that is a match that I'm asking everyone to watch if you are listening to this podcast, because you will never find a better match than that. Jason, do you honestly think that there was a better match than that?
In New Japan history?
In general, in wrestling history.
Wow.
One-on-one, though. One-on-one. Junior division. So, like, light heavyweight, cruiserweight kind of thing.
The only match that I can consider not even better, but close on the same rank would be
I'll take that. Okay.
Another Will Ospreay match. Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll at Sakura Genesis 2 years ago.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a beautiful match, actually. Marty got the win, didn't he?
No, that was the first time Ospreay beat Marty Scurll.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Wow, yeah. Look, guys, even me, a huge fan, may forget, and that's why you guys have to rewatch it. So we are giving you guys 2 matches to watch: Will Ospreay and Marty, Ospreay and Shingo. You gotta check this stuff out. This stuff is gold. You'll never find anything better than that. But yeah, I said Sonata. You said Shingo. Future will tell, right, man?
It definitely will.
All right, what do we got next, boy?
I feel like the man of the hour, the guy who barely shows up in New Japan but captures every U.S. American fan's interest. What's next for Jon Moxley? Will he be stopped?
Jon Moxley. Huh. Will he be stopped? I don't want him to. Honestly. I'm not, Dean Ambrose kind of guy. I mean, I was a Dean Ambrose fan, but I'm not still holding on to that. He's Dean Ambrose. He's the guy who's gonna take over New. No. I see Jon Moxley now. I see a totally new guy. I see a guy who broke out of the shell, the cage that he was in. He was locked up, and he came out, and now he's dominating. And honestly, I just want him to keep doing it. I want him to be that one guy that you have to have, so many battles with until you get that win against him. I want it to be like an Okada versus Osprey story. To this day, Osprey has never beat Okada in a one-on-one, and when that day does come that Osprey beats Okada, it'll be one of those he finally did it moments. I want Moxley to be Okada. I want him to be that guy where you fight 100 times and then later, years later, you get that one win against him. I want him to be that guy. And the best thing about him is he will only come for specific shows. And that's why you need him. He is the Brock Lesnar, except he does the work and he does the interviews and he does all that. And he actually contributes to the fan base. He is no different from All Elite Wrestling, John Moxley, to All the Way in Japan, John Moxley. He's the same guy who does 2 shows and keeps the same character. Even in All Elite Wrestling, he's champion right now, and I'm over here like this guy just beat Jericho, where I know for a fact Jason over there predicted that Jericho was going to retain. You never know what you're going to get from John Moxley.
Well, I definitely see him having a good future now. You took the ball right out of the park and stole my dream match I want to see with Moxley. I want to see him face Okada. We didn't get to see it in the G1, but I feel like we can in the future.
It will definitely be a huge build up for it, though. We'll definitely get something with that.
Now then, next question between us, and I'm really interested in your opinion on this. Will AEW and New Japan have a little contract between them?
Here's my thing. If this was up to Cody, I think yes. I think Cody is very, very, very respectful, and I think that he doesn't care about the company, he cares about the talent in the company. So Cody would easily go, yeah, let's get Tanahashi on here. Let's get all these people on here. And I know Tony Khan, who's a huge wrestling fan, doesn't matter what company, wants New Japan wrestlers to come to his show. It's New Japan that's not really giving up their guys. Tony Khan had an interview stating that we let our guys go to them, but they don't let their guys go to us. It's not like a even contract deal. They're not putting their end of the bargain, you know? And it's really disappointing because New Japan would be so much more powerful having All Elite Wrestling help them out. It just will, you know. It'll open up more doors to so much more fan base from the U.S. And New Japan is trying. New Japan has their own U.S. Place now where they're gonna start airing half their shows in the U.S. That's a future project. I don't know if anyone knew about that. New Japan wants to do the beginning of the year all in the U.S. and then end of the year in Japan. Like they're gonna do split. They're gonna have specific roster for specific U.S. talent. Like I know Amazing Red. I know TJP. I know a lot of guys that are U.S. New Japan talents now that you'll see. Coming up with the show in MSG, I don't know, TJP, Amazing Red. Those guys are all going to be there. It's the point where if it's a U.S. show, you'll see the U.S. stars. And that's what New Japan's trying to do. But your question was All Elite Wrestling. Like I said, All Elite Wrestling is completely on board. New Japan has to wake up and they have to seize the opportunity because they're not doing that. I hope All Elite Wrestling won't restrict their guys from coming because, like I said, having Moxley, having Jericho, it's a big part. And honestly, I think that, New Japan have been, petty for a while. Doing the thing with Kenny Omega, doing the thing with the Young Bucks. But again, it's like, I'm a fan of the Young Bucks, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of, Kenny, don't get me wrong. But they have this power. And I think they're a little, mad with it. I think that they know they can do whatever they want, so they purposely will attack whoever they want. And they've done it with being the Elite. You'll see sometimes they make fun of Triple H, and it's all fun and games. But the recent little shenanigan with their tag match that they did, that was a straight slap in the face to not only New Japan but to a specific friend of theirs who made a choice, and now they're basically like doing that, and it's messed up because I feel bad for that one guy who had to watch another guy do his moves to make the match better. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Honestly, IAW is all on board. New Japan's not doing enough, and that's why All Elite Wrestling is attacking back. It's one of those they're not actually equal. There's still some tension in the room, and I don't know if it will ever heal. Wounds won't heal right away, but again, it's about how ignorant some people are at one point.
Hmm. Interesting. So let me ask you, when it comes to the New Japan roster, and you know their roster is stacked, who do you think deserves a little bit of gold this year?
Hmm. Sonata for sure. Sonata is 100% for sure. A little bit of gold. A little bit of gold. Carl Fredericks. I honestly just want to see him more. I want to see him, break out of the, young lions thing. Come on, it's time. Carl Fredericks made a name for himself, big one. Um, honest, like all honesty, and Jason, I really don't want you to like attack me for this. Um, I think I do want TJP on New Japan. I want he did the World Junior Tag League, and I loved seeing him face off Osprey, face off Show and Yo and all that. And again, no matter where TJP is, he steals the show in my opinion. Having him there, even making his own faction, the Lij. Well, I mean, not L, not Lij, but like let him join a tag team, the LA Dojo tag team. Like let him do something. Let him have his own faction, or let him join. What was the tag team that you? What was that faction that you told me? There was Zack Sabre Jr.
Suzuki Gun.
Suzuki Gun. I would love to see him in Suzuki Gun. I would love to. I honestly think TJP is a really hot talent, and he's for New Japan already. I think they should just use him more. Obviously, it's again U.S. and Japan. It's all that. It's a big difference, but it's the point where it's like, if I had to see a breakout star, everyone's a breakout star every year. New Japan takes one guy and they give him a huge victory. Kota Ibushi had, the briefcase. Jay White had one of the best feuds. Kenta had one of the best feuds. Naito became champ. There's Osprey did this with Zack Sabre Jr. So many guys, like, it's hard to say for New Japan. New Japan does not sleep on anybody at all. Hiromu, Shingo, no one. They don't sleep on anybody. They give everyone a spotlight. Doesn't matter how big the light is, as long as it's a spotlight, they give it. So I'm over here making up, wrestlers that are for New Japan, but you just don't see them. Like Colt Cabana, I heard was doing stuff for New Japan. Like, it's the point where it's like, I honestly don't think there won't be a spotlight for a wrestler this year. I think everyone's gonna get the spotlight. Honestly, I think that's not a question I can answer.
That's fair. But there is the other question that I was also interested in. I want to do a little game with you, Eric.
I'm ready.
This is 2020, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Two biggest tournaments in the world are Battle of the Super Juniors and the G1 Climax. This year, the G1 Climax is hitting the 30th anniversary. I want to know two winners. Predict now, 7 months away. Who do you think are going to win both of those tournaments?
I'm going to go with John Moxley, and I'm going to go with Naito.
Interesting. You think they're going to have a first?
I'll go with one more person. I'll go with three. I'm sorry. Just because this is like my bottom of the barrel kind of guy. I'm going with Kenta.
You think Kenta would win the G1 or the Battle of the Super Junior? The best of the Super Junior?
Battle of the Super Junior. That's my bottom of the barrel guy.
Kenta. Interesting. That's a good pick. Well, looks like we have our questions set. And now we can move.
Jason? You didn't give anyone your answer.
Oh, you want my answer for the battle of the best
for
of
both,
the Super
For both, yeah, of course.
For the best of the Super Juniors, I think I should go with... I'll go with Show, actually.
Okay, interesting.
And for the G1 Climax this year, big tournament. There's a lot of meat in that sandwich, you know what I'm saying? I think this year we need a heel to win. We've had faces win every year so far. We need a heel to win, so I'll go with Jay White.
All right, that's pretty interesting. You can get one more guy.
For the G1?
Yep.
Well, I'd be really thrilled if this happened. I'll go with Shingo Takagi.
All right. Well, those are all interesting, and we just have to wait and see. So we got Sho, we got Shingo, and we got Jay White. For me, you got Kenta, Moxley, and Naito.
Interesting. Now, to change paces a little bit and to hop from the questions to the main topics once again, there's a person that's been breaking down barriers in all types of levels of wrestling. She is a current Impact World Champion, Tessa Blanchard. Tell me how you feel about her as champion currently.
Okay, so I'm gonna rip the bandage right out of there. We all follow wrestling. Everyone who's watching are definitely wrestling fans. So they follow up with the news. People are not happy with this. I am not one of those people. I love Tessa Blanchard. I think she is one of the most amazing wrestlers of our time. I think she could do anything with anyone, with any gender, and give it a 5-star classic. I am so happy that she got the world championship because she deserves it. She should go down with some kind of historic moment of Impact because we both know she's such hot talent. She will not stay in Impact for the next 8 years. We'll definitely see a change. We will. It's just how everything works. Impact has always changed their people, and they always get better, and that's how it works. So, I love that she will forever be on that list as the first woman to ever hold the main title. You know what I mean? She beat Gail Kim. She did so much. She proved that she deserves that title. And those of you who don't like her, because she's holding it because of the feuds, she kicked Sami Callihan's ass. He is one of the biggest heels. I love every minute of her wrestling. I love everything about her. I think she is super talented. My honest thing is I think she was one of the best choices made for Impact. Do I think she will win at Rebellion? Sadly, no. I think it's time for Eddie Edwards. I think that Tessa Blanchard had her moment, and that's there, and I was happy about it, and it should go. I think those are the people who didn't like it. I would love reasoning for it, because if it's just she was a plain champion, I don't think she was a plain champion. But that's my response for Tessa Blanchard. I am 100% for Tessa. I am so happy she won the title.
Interesting. I feel like Tessa Blanchard definitely did something that no woman can do. I mean, how many world champions have been women?
For Impact?
Yeah.
Have there even been any?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many? She's just been really good. I mean, I respect her craft, how good she is, how she's improved, and how she was the first person to, take that ball and make all them free throws. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Sami Callihan had a great match at Slammiversary. And then they had another good match on Impact. And then they teamed together while she was still taking on these gigantic dudes that weighed more than her and had more muscle. And then, she faced off against the other people, at Bound for Glory in the ladder match for the X Division title. As you said, Gail Kim at Rebellion. And you want to know what the funniest thing about all those matches were?
What's up?
She stole the show.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody else in the match, they did great. Amazing. But I can say she stole the show. So I'm very proud of her being a champion. Do I think she can, beat the odds of Rebellion? No. It's just plain no. There's only one person that's going to win, and his name is Michael Elgin.
Well, that is another thing. I'm going for Eddie Edwards. You're going for Michael Elgin. We gave our responses and reasoning in the last video. We don't have to bring that up again. If you did not see the first video, please check it out. We talk about why I think Eddie Edwards, why he thinks Michael Elgin. So that's it. We're done with Tessa, right? You gave your reasoning?
Yes.
All right. What is next on our schedule?
Let's talk about a pretty heavy topic that can relate to multiple wrestlers in New Japan, AEW, and Impact itself. Success for wrestlers after leaving World Wrestling Entertainment, known as WWE.
Would you like to start this off, or you want me to start this off?
I can start it off because I know you're going to be talking the whole time.
Wow.
Let's see. When you think about success afterwards, you think of how WWE used them, and then you think about how they're going to be used better. If I can throw out a couple examples, I'll just throw two off the top of my head, and I won't use the one that Eric is going to say because I'm a good person. John Moxley and Brody Lee. And if none of you guys saw AEW, which was a terrible idea because that was probably the greatest no-seat arena show that I have seen in a while. It was hilarious, fun, and the matches were still good and entertaining. Brody Lee came out as the Exalted One for Dark Order.
Whoa. You have to say spoiler alert when you do this, man.
Well, it's kind of too late, and
Oh, no.
it's Saturday. It's Saturday. If they haven't seen it already, well, that's up for
No,
them.
you still gotta say spoiler alert. Come on, that hasn't even been a full week yet. People got work.
It's too late.
People got jobs. You're terrible.
Come at me. As I was saying, Brody Lee is officially out of WWE. Contract is unfrozen. He's in there now. He's ready to go. He's ready to step up, and already a leader of a top faction in a whole another wrestling company. That's already good booking, and he hasn't even wrestled a match yet. With John Moxley, he went from terrible matches in WWE. I mean, there were some good ones. You know, I'm not gonna take anything away from him because he brought his A game. He did what he did. But when WWE would put him in these situations that he didn't want to be in, and basically hold him, like Eric said earlier, trapped in basically a jail. And then, as soon as he was released, think of all the possibilities he went to. Dominated the New Japan G1 Climax, and then hopped over to AEW, went undefeated, and now he's their top champion and world champion. There's a lot of things you can do with these people. I mean, there are people like Kenta who wrestled, what was it, Eric, 2 days a week? No, 2 days a month. And then he went to World Tag League and wrestled 16 days in a month.
Yep.
These people, honestly, are given better chances when they leave WWE. And I'm not going to say WWE has treated some people in a bad way because, I mean, it is true, but then you look at other people who went back. Rey Mysterio, MVP, John Morrison, and look at them now. Now, if you say they leave WWE and get better and then come back, I don't have a problem with that. But if they leave and they stay out of WWE, then it's to the point where they're going to get a lot more opportunities and they're just going to be better in a sense. That's all I really have to say about it.
All right. Well, I want to talk about one man and one man only, in my opinion. He is a current Cruiserweight champion. Let's give a round of applause to Rich Swann. I'm a huge fan of Rich Swann, honestly.
Rich Swann isn't the Cruiserweight champion.
He was
That's
current.
Ace Austin.
I said Cruiserweight champion, Jason. Not
Rich Swann's a Cruiserweight champion?
No, I said he was Cruiserweight champion.
Man, that's crazy. I'm sorry, I can barely remember his name, the way he was treated.
Okay. Yeah, so Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann, who, you know, after WWE treated him really poorly after the way they care about their image and how news gets around and how they basically told Swann to leave due to bad image. Not even him as they could have used him as a wrestler that could have just came out and did absolutely nothing, but they were also like, there's news around you, so we don't want you, you know, being near us during this. And that was terrible. And he left, and in less than that year, he became X Division champion, winning the X Division title in, yes, an X Division match. Those, if you ever been at a X Division match, man, those are hard. Those are really, 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 really difficult. I honestly have always wanted to see one live because, you know, Jason, you know these things in these matches that you watch, you always see wrestlers, you know, trying to hurt themselves or hurting other people by jumping off cages, ladders, all this, and an Ultimate X match. If you've never seen Ultimate X match, you have to check it out. An Ultimate X match is where this title was hanged between four wires, not a ladder. And you have to climb the actual bars. I don't know how to explain it, but there is no ladder, and you actually have to just climb to the top. One match that if I had to recommend, I would, only because for me personally, I saw people fall. Like Christopher Daniels almost died. If anyone, do you remember the match exactly, Jason?
I do, and I know exactly what you were talking about. He was talking about Bound for Glory between Amazing Red, Christopher Daniels, Homicide.
Suicide.
Jeez, there's so many people in there.
I'm pretty sure Suicide was there too. He's the one who dropped Daniels.
Suicide and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that match, you have to definitely check it out because that will show you the scares of an Ultimate X match. But that's why I'm looking at Swan right now. Swan is the kind of guy that you honestly, in my opinion, if he didn't leave WWE, they would not have used him. They'd use him the same way they're using Cedric Alexander right now. Rest in peace, Cedric Alexander. Having Swan as X Division champion did so much. He versed so many guys, even outside of Impact. He had to deal with AAA, where he versed none other than Flamita. He had success. He had this thing where he versed Michael Elgin. He versed stars, and he kept being relevant. I love that. I think Rich Swann was definitely one guy who, in my opinion, broke out of that WWE and gave himself the success. Right now, he is currently injured. I really hope to see him back. I think him and Willie Mack are an amazing tag team, and a dream tag team for me to see is him and Willie Mack versus TJP and Falaba. Only because of the history between TJP and Swan, and the fact that it's very interesting. Known fact: TJP is friends with Rich Swann and Falaba and Willie Mack. They're all really good friends. So to see a battle between all of them, all four of them, would be really interesting. The history, that will be like a match that will be very, very interesting to watch. Falaba, Willie Mack, two, big guys that can definitely fly like no one else can fly. And TJP and Rich Swann, two guys that are so slick with their moves and so interesting to watch.
I mean, honestly, when it comes down to Rich Swann and leaving Impact Wrestling, I mean, leaving WWE, I honestly feel like I don't want to be that guy, but I think it saved his career. I genuinely feel that way because his match against John Morrison at Slammiversary, I've never seen anything like that before. Have you, Eric?
I mean, like I said, when we talk about New Japan, I told you the biggest match for me was Osprey and Shingo. I feel like I have not seen anything better than that match yet. You know what I mean?
I meant Rich Swann wise, like his matches.
I really enjoyed his match against TJ at the Cruiserweight Classic. The build up, the friendship, all that, but it wasn't as great as him and Morrison. So, yeah, I'm. I that's a think. That's what I have to think about. Swan did a lot, but no, I don't think there was anything better than him and Morrison. I think that was definitely the best match time anniversary.
Agreed. Well,
again, like let's not keep any silence around. Who else you got? We got to talk about a couple guys. We can't just talk about one guy. Who else you got?
Who's left WWE and their careers basically skyrocketed?
Yeah, we'll do one more guy.
Jeez, there's so many. Let's go with recent AEW rostered Lance Archer. Let's go with Matt Hardy. Let's go with.
Pick one. We'll do this. We'll do the segment every episode. Pick one other guy.
Pick one other guy to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm going Lance Archer then. because I respect that man a lot. He went through probably the worst things in 2011 in WWE. Didn't win one match. He has never won a match in WWE, and he was there for
I do
three
remember.
years.
Yep.
3 whole years. And then you want to know what happens the year he gets fired for no reason, just because they don't want him on the payroll?
Mm-hmm.
He goes to New Japan, goes on an excursion to basically fulfill his match set and his technical prowess and his dominant stature. Comes back for a G1, dominates, gets multiple victories. And I'm not even talking about the most recent G1. I was talking about the first one he competed in, because he's been in 3. The second one he did in New Japan got even more points, but still didn't have that factor until he joined Suzuki Gun, and then last year in the G1 took it over by storm with his amazing gimmick, Everybody Dies, because it is true. And honestly, now that he's gone over to AEW, leaving New Japan behind as a former IWGP US champion, and now he's being managed by a great Hall of Famer, Jake the Snake, I think nothing can go better for him than this right now, honestly.
So I got one other guy, and this guy, I think, I think this guy just literally did it better. So this guy's like the ace card. I feel like no matter who you look at about like success, this guy had the biggest amount of success due to the connections he made. I'm going with Cody Rhodes. Honestly, I'm not trying to make this an AEW thing. Cody Rhodes had a dream. He had a dream that when he left WWE and he got the worst treatment there, not as bad as Lance Archer though, he lost himself, he lost his name, he lost a lot of things there. He had to get back all that slowly. But by getting all that back, he created something. He created a group. He found himself. It's the way you live life is you make connections. The way you succeed in life is by connections, and that's exactly what he did. Him, the Bucks, Hangman, Marty, all of them, they all had this idea. They all had this plan called being the elite. And even though it was the Bucks' thing way before it was anyone else's thing, it's the fact that Cody signed up for. It's a very big deal to every week talk about the podcast, talk about the YouTube channel and always film stuff and everything. And Cody was a whole big guy in the being the elite. Bucks started it, but it became so much more later in time. And Cody had the dream of creating his own company. Cody always had that, chairman kind of thing, and he did it. We would not see All Elite Wrestling if it wasn't for him and the Bucks and Tony Khan, and it's a story. And I think no one else will have the story of Cody Rhodes. I think no matter what wrestler you look at, no matter what company they go to, no matter what titles they win, Cody Rhodes even had his own decency not to win his own title. Cody Rhodes gave it to Jericho. And that's what still blows my mind. That Cody Rhodes, they could have easily Medusa'd it. Cody Rhodes could have easily went to Tony Khan and said, let me beat Jericho for the title. Let me be champion. Tony Khan would have said yes to that, most likely. Cody probably said, nah, I'm fine. I don't need it. And that's what happened. Cody literally lost. Cody let everything go. Cody did not need the title. And honestly, even not talking about All Elite Wrestling, Cody was one of the best heels of New Japan. I think I was watching New Japan mainly because of Cody at one point. I think Cody had the best heel. I think him and Kenny, the way, and I always talk about this to you outside of, this podcast, the way Cody and Kenny's build up, the way the historical feud came along, it was a year-long build up. It was from, the first thing between Cody, starting to do like some slimy stuff between Kenny's match. Cody threw in the towel, and then the same thing between one of the greatest matches between Cody and Okada, dream match for me. Kenny threw in the towel. There was build up. Then then getting Kota Ibushi and Kenny versus the Young Bucks was all a part of the feud between Kenny and Cody. All that, it was all the biggest amount of build up to the final match. ROH signed up for it. ROH had their own one-sided match. New Japan had their own. I don't think you'll ever get a rivalry like that. Honestly. That also be my favorite rivalry, just because of how many people were affected by it and how many matches were made by it. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, honestly, two major companies at the time with New Japan and Ring of Honor making this rivalry come to part, and the fact that this rivalry went on for about, I don't know, a whole nearly a year between these guys just made it that much sweeter, honestly.
And I'm, hoping every day that All Elite Wrestling will put the third and final match installment in there. You know what I mean? Like there should always be the question: so when will we see the final, tiebreaker end? The rubber match end. Kenny has one. Cody has one. Who's gonna get the last one? Cody has been doing so much, outside of his first ever steel cage. Cody risks his body, and honestly, I think that's I think I kind of just broke this game by busting out the biggest success guy. But we will not talk about Cody until anymore over success because he was just a wild card. He was just the top card. No one else was Cody. No one else built the company. And I it's funny because the last thing I'm gonna mention about this topic, then we'll go to a different topic, is I look at a photo at the big event, Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks and Brandy all did a meet and greet at the big event, and I took a photo, and this is so cool to me because this was way before All Elite Wrestling. So like Matt and Nick, they're wearing the Elite shirts and all that, and it blows my mind because this is way before All Elite Wrestling started. This was before anything happened, and I'm looking at this photo and I'm like, wow. Before this became a thing, I met these guys. Cody's already had blonde hair in the photo. It was just a lot, And it's like this photo will always be cherished because this is like taking a photo with like, the original wrestlers of, the first ever company like WWF or ECW or stuff. You know what I mean?
I do actually.
Yeah, so that's my success from leaving WWE. Um, what's next on our schedule? Because I believe we're having just an amazing conversation right now, and I think the fans are probably loving this.
Let's see. The fight. We actually are down to our last topic.
Oh, okay. So, can I point something out? Because I wanna just thank or say a couple things. Um, so we talked about success after leaving WWE, and now I just want to bring up success not even going to WWE, like future stars. And as of a couple weeks ago, I found this cool guy, Damian Drake. If you don't know him, look at his matches. He is the DC Universe slash wrestler of the future. Honestly, like this guy brings comics into reality. He's broken. He's alive. There's so much on him. You can watch him on FSW. I love him specifically because he literally is Damian Drake. Damian Wayne, Tim Drake. His gimmick was literally being Nightwing for a very long time. Like if you look him up, he had a whole Nightwing thing going around. He's got this Joker thing going around right now. You gotta check him out. He's super talented. I've been watching so many of his matches. I watched his matches against Chris Bay. I watched a lot of his ROH matches. He, a long time ago, tagged teamed with TJP for a few matches. There's so much history and so much of a bright future for this guy. I cannot wait. Another guy from FSW, Chris Bay. We mentioned him slowly. Chris Bay is a huge talent. This guy's superior. He's talented as hell. I would love to see him in, ROH. I would love to see him everywhere, honestly. This guy is busting out these 5-star classics. And the funny thing between Chris Bay and Damian Drake is, if you are watching Impact this week, Damian Drake was actually versing Chris Bay on his debut. And, this isn't their first match, actually. That's the crazy thing. They've had thousands of matches. So just check them out. They're definitely two of the top talents that, as of this week, I have just been watching. Like, I just go on YouTube, I type in Damian Drake verse, and then I type in Chris Bay verse, and you just watch so many matches, and they're amazing. I'm telling you, FSW has got the huge roster. Damian Drake versus Funny Bone, Chris Bay versus Damian Drake. I mean, there's a hell of amazing matches. Check them all out.
Definitely check out both of those amazing superstars, especially Chris Bay, seeing how he is already on a good start on Impact with, as Eric said earlier, against Damian Drake, how they had a very, very good match. Was about 10, 15 minutes between them. They had a really good match, good start, and I feel like Chris Bay is honestly, he's going to do something Impact, something big. We haven't seen anything major yet or future title shots already since it is only his first week, but I think he's gonna go somewhere in Impact. He may be a future X Division champion.
I mean, he's in number one contender match for against Willie Mack, the Deaners, and a few other guys next week. You know that, right?
Well, it looks like we'll get our answer next week then.
Yep. We'll see. Who you got for that match, by the way?
I'm still gonna go with my original decision and go with Willie Mack.
I'm gonna go with my original guy, and that's Chris Bay.
Alrighty, I would love to see either one of these guys win.
Yep. All right. Now, Jason, our last subject for the day.
Our last subject of the day, we're gonna go with future wrestlers of tomorrow.
We just did that.
So you want to go with the other topic then?
I mean, do you have any wrestlers that you want to talk about other than Damian Drake and Chris Bay? They should definitely check out.
Shingo Takagi. He's the guy. That guy's gonna be big someday. I've seen multiple matches of him in PWG. You can check out any of his matches of the Best of the Super Juniors of last year and the G1 Climax, as he was in both. As right now he is the Never Open Weight champion and the Never Open Weight 3-man champion with other two members of LIJ. This guy is the definition of I could have been, but you know what? I'm going to be that much better. He has a way with him where he wants competition. You don't see that much drive in wrestlers. Like, you can see maybe like, oh yeah, I want to fight the best around, but he wants to fight anybody, and not like no junkyard dog type fight anybody. I want to test my limits so that when somebody breaks me, I can get better than that person, and then get better than the next, and then the next, and then the next. He honestly will be the breakout star in 2020. I mean, in 2019, he went undefeated until the finals of the Best of the Super Junior at Wrestle Kingdom. At his first Wrestle Kingdom, he won the 3-man titles, and then not even a month after that, defeated Hiroki Goto in a main event at Cork and Hall for the Never Open Championship in at least a 35-minute classic that I honestly was proud to stay up and watch, because he just keeps hitting you and hitting you and hitting you until you fall down with his devastating clothesline known as the Poppin' Bomber. I feel like Shingo Takagi is going to be a really big guy one day, and I think he's going to shock some people and bring out the true meaning of never wrestling.
Wow, honestly, I've seen Shingo, and I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. I think Shingo will definitely have the spotlight. It may be 2 years from now. New Japan will definitely use him as their top guy soon. He'll be like the Naito. Like, New Japan right now, you have factions, and then you have the leader of the factions. And I don't know what New Japan's goal is about it, to get one of those, henchmen to become leader. But Shingo is definitely one of those bad guys, and Naito is definitely the leader. But I think in 2 years from now, Shingo will definitely take over. I don't know how, I don't know where. I just know that he will definitely get, Okada spotlight. As in, he'll face Okada a lot. Like, that's my thing. He'll definitely get, main event spotlight more and more as time goes by.
Definitely agree. Eric, how much time do we have left?
We've been over the limit already. We wanted to take this less than an hour, but it's over an hour already. But I do want to talk about our one last thing, because this is something that we should talk about due to what's going on this week in wrestling. We've seen Raw, we've seen SmackDown, and we've seen All Elite Wrestling. Those are the only companies who have done shows without any people. And you gave in the beginning a response to All Elite Wrestling, but we have to talk about the controversy between what is better and what company is doing what better, and like who is getting more ratings due to these inconveniences between WWE and AEW. Because, for example, like you said in the beginning, All Elite Wrestling had humor, All Elite Wrestling had great matches, All Elite Wrestling had surprises. Like, honestly, I'm over here like, wow, they did, Brody Lee and Matt Hardy all without an audience. They just wanted the ratings and just wanted the people out in the at homes going crazy, and they did that. Sadly, I can't say the same about WWE. Even though we got Edge, it was such a blank thing. Jeff Hardy had a 5 minute match with Baron Corbin. If this was AEW standards, Jeff Hardy wouldn't have had a 5 minute match. He would have had a whole main event match. Edge would have had more dialogue with Randy. It's my point where it's like AEW is definitely like, okay, let's give the fans what they don't have or what they can't have right now, and WWE is more like, we gotta replace time. And by doing that, they give you, if you watched SmackDown yesterday, they gave you, which in my opinion was pretty cool, but it's like if you're paying for the network, then they gave you absolutely nothing. They gave you, I believe, WrestleMania 30, John Cena versus The Fiend, that entire match, they gave it to you. Again, like if you have the network, for you that's like nothing, but for fans out there, they're like, oh, it's pretty cool, I get to see a WrestleMania match, like previous one, like for a while. And then the week before that, SmackDown gave you and this is what I didn't like. Literally, the couple days before, they gave you the Elimination Chamber tag match, where it's like, I just spent money to watch that pay per view, and now you're telling me you gave a whole match for free. Like, WWE is more interested in like what they're doing in plan. But like okay, here is my number one concern. Here's my number one issue, and this will be one that I will complain about for a long time. Currently, All Elite Wrestling are selling shirts to help fundraise, places that are in need right now, health wise. We all need it right now. They are, contributing to so much more. All Elite Wrestling have their own, like, benefits to what they want to do. And when it comes to merch, they're selling shirts. Like they have some really 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 cool shirt designs. Like I believe Sammy Guevara was wearing the Wash Your Hands shirt, and it's like you know
For 20% off t-shirts,
yeah, the 20% off because all that money goes to charity. The money that the shirts are making all go to charity. It's a specific thing, and personally, I think that's amazing. I think that like them doing that, them selling shirts to go to charity is one of the kindest things they could do, and that's all the wrestling. And then you have WWE where they're also selling T-shirts. For example, sorry to cut myself off. Um, Cody Rhodes is selling his T-shirt, and it's an all profits donate to the United Way Coronavirus Family Support Fund. That is so kind. Literally, all the money that the shirts are going to support groups and donations. Jericho's doing the same thing. Jericho, the heel Chris Jericho, is still doing profits and donations for companies as well. For Jericho's T-shirt, where it's "Wash your hands, cover your mouth," and I can't read the rest. All profits donate to the World Health Organization for the Coronavirus Response Fund. So these people actually care about us and give us some stuff. And then you have WWE who are selling "I wasn't there" shirts for WrestleMania that go to no profit and no donation. Honestly, they're more worried about their merch and their sales more than us, the fans, and that is what I have learned. And that is the issue with ratings, and that is the issue with why you watch WWE and why you watch AEW, and why you get a completely different standard between these empty arenas. Jason, what do you have to say about that topic between empty arenas?
empty arenas. Honestly, there's never been a more serious problem than there is now with this virus spreading around. It's very tough on multiple places all around the world. Examples like Italy, New York, Chicago, Detroit, all these places, they're all going through different things right now. And the one thing that all of us wrestling fans have in common is we can band together when we have to when it comes to being, one single unit. And these wrestling companies, there isn't much they can do. They know they have to pique our interest. And the fact that All Elite Wrestling still put on people to wrestle, put their own workers in the crowd, and they let them have a good time, drink a little, chant, act like actual fans.
I honestly
It made
think
it
MJF and Sean
hilarious.
Spears were the best thing about All Elite Wrestling.
Honestly, I mean, hey, they were placing bets over there. Had me wanting to throw in a couple of dollars over there, and then you had SCU on the other opposite side, along with Colt Cabana and the Dustin Rhodes when he was out there for one of the matches, and then you still had great matches, good openers like the Lucha Bros, the Best Friends, had the just everybody. The main event with the Elite versus Inner Circle members, and everything just worked out. You know what I'm saying? If we had just a lot better to offer than what NXT and SmackDown, they gave it their all. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll be honest, some of the parts were entertaining. The whole Cena versus Bray Wyatt match at Mania. You want me to be honest with you? At the time, I didn't even watch the match, but when they showed it on SmackDown and I watched it, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed myself. I felt like that was a good way to pass time and build rivalry by putting out that type of match. But with NXT, just a whole sit-down interview with Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, you could have, thrown that on the network for an hour special if you wanted more insight. Now, I'm not going to lie, hearing it from both angles was pretty entertaining, and seeing the backstory to all that and some of the other footage with the Performance Center and all that from when they started, they were training and they were working out together and on the road, and the past photos, and then the Cruiserweight Classic information, all of that was great, but still, you did not need that. But with All Elite Wrestling, they had jokes, segments, they kept pushing it forward, and then if you throw on top of a Brody Lee and Matt Hardy, damn right they're gonna get fucking better ratings than them. You know what I mean? Yeah, they killed it. They knocked it out of the park. And now, if we're being honest, this just gets me more excited to watch All Elite Wrestling because you can see how they are even during dire times. They can still put out performances that are good. Hell, you saw that pyro. That's still going on over there, even when there was no fans. But hey, they
Yeah.
grabbed what they could with the brass ring and they took it and they still put on a good show that I watched fully. I honestly can say that this week, hats off to AEW. They pulled off what I didn't think was possible for any wrestling company to have a good show without fans. And they did it.
You know, the one thing that I really liked about All Elite Wrestling that we didn't mention yet was when it started it off. The lights were all turned off, everything was off, and Cody gets in there and he gives a speech about how he didn't think how big this was and how big we matter and all that. And that was towards us, the fans. And then Kenny comes along and goes, we don't know what's happening tomorrow or next week. We know we got to keep it alive today. I think that there will be a time where AEW will beat WWE in ratings, and the only way that will happen is because of how much you care about us, the fans. Now, I'm not saying AEW is better, their entertainment is better. They give us no. I'm saying that us as a fan group will one day just wake up when this is all over and just be like, the hell has WWE done for me as of lately? You know what I mean?
I understand. And like you, yeah, we're not really gonna say who's better at this point because they're both in difficult situations, the performance wise. And I have said SmackDown throughout some good stuff, but I feel like AEW handled it a lot more appropriately, if I'm being honest. But other than that, I think that's how I feel about this whole empty arena crisis situations we're going. I feel like all wrestling companies are holding it in and they're doing what they can, which is all we can really ask for at this point.
You know, it's it's a lot. You know, sometimes it's like you really need to understand. You know where you're at in these times, and this is this has not been a shock to me. This is something that I knew would happen. That as soon as fans can't make it to shows, WWE will stop trying. And like you said, there are things you like about WWE that they did, but it's you said it yourself. AEW was better than WWE as of this week between them the arenas, and if WWE cares enough, they'll change something by next week, and that's the only time to tell.
Honestly, I think we're all gonna get through this strong. We're gonna do this exactly how we gotta do it, and I think everything is gonna be just fine when it comes to the wrestling world. And hey, you and me, we're gonna keep doing what we do best.
That is true. We're gonna keep arguing.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. No solid arguing this week. So
Yeah, yeah, but
that's
that's the
pretty good.
thing. Speaking of arguing, we need to argue about something. We need to get one more argument then. So,
Hey, well, I don't have anything to argue about. I think we did good today.
oh no, people love it when we argue, though, Jason.
Don't break kayfabe. No one's supposed to know that yet.
Bro, I got mad comments of people going crazy about the fact that me and you have a debate, debate kind of thing. But
Maybe that'll be next week's episode.
what's your
We'll
favorite
just
feud
pick
going on? What's your favorite feud going on right now between WWE? Like, what are you most excited for during Mania?
Edge versus Randy Orton in the last man standing match.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah. What about All Elite Wrestling?
All Elite Wrestling. I love what they're doing with Hangman Page.
What are they doing with Hangman Page?
They still can't get along with each other, but Hangman Page is slowly maybe about to turn on somebody. I mean, I don't know if you saw that after effect at Revolution with Hangman Page.
No one saw
Looks like
that. No one saw. You know why? Because it didn't
no one saw
happen.
that.
Because it didn't happen. Yeah, no, it
No
didn't
one saw
happen.
that.
No one saw
What?
Hangman Page. You don't know what he did. Okay, I'm his lawyer now. You don't know what he was about to do during that moment.
Well,
Okay,
if you say so.
Kenny's back was turned around. No one saw anything. All right.
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
All right. Well, I am so happy that we managed to do a whole thing with no arguing. Honestly, because usually me and you have some comments, but yeah, it's very interesting. So let's just go back to our last video and see the comment board. Who won? This is the final thing. Tag team. Does it have to be the original tag team to be popular and be better, or does it have to be brand new tag teams? So let's see what we got on the comment board. Thank you, Trevor Brooks, Team Eric. That's one for me. Alan Z, Team Eric. That's two. Michael Furman, three. Tomaso Ciampa, that's one for you, Jay. Lexi, that's two for you, Jay. And then Claudia. Oh wow, okay. So that's it, right? No, I'm gonna double check. Yeah, I definitely won that this week. I appreciate everyone who voted. I appreciate everyone who commented. You know, it's a new time, it's a new change, and I hope Jason will consider that and maybe next video he'll admit to maybe he was wrong, right, Jason?
No, I'm not going to admit that I was wrong because everybody has their own opinions.
All right, well we tried, guys. We tried to put the word out. But anything else I'd say before we cut it off, Jace?
Just want to thank everybody. I hope you guys' spirits stay strong through this time of crisis that we're all going through currently. Me and Eric ourselves are going through different types of quarantines, but we are absolutely fine. We're healthy, and we're going to keep providing this to you as many times a week as we can.
Yep. So please, if you haven't seen our first video, we've uploaded it on March 19th, and it's the Oreo Wrestling Podcast. Please subscribe, please like, please share. We will appreciate everything. Please tag us on all kinds of social media, and if you have a question, DM us. Our DM box will be open, and we will always answer you guys. And we will see you next time. and I am planning to have a surprise interview. We don't know exactly who it be, but we will start having wrestlers be interviewed. Jason, just since you started it off, cut it off. Give them the last word, man.
This has been the All Real Wrestling Podcast with your boy Jason Smith.
And Eric Novak.
We will see you guys next time.